Hey, it's Heather, and welcome to another episode of Adventures in Gardening. This is our weekend edition, and this is week number 15 of 2021. And I've missed you guys. I've got a lot to tell you about, a lot to catch up on, and so much so that I'm like, okay, we can't talk about all of that today. And in fact, we'll have an April garden tour next week. Hopefully early next week I'll do an April garden tour. So, but there's so much going on right now, and I am playing catch up, honestly. So let's jump right in. So today it's the second week of April, okay? And we have had some wonderful weather. I mean, really nice weather here in our Zone 6, Connecticut. Except for today. It is snowing and it's cold. So I think right now it's 39, but it got down to about 36 and snowing. And you know, I'm watching all the people I love and all my friends on Facebook and people, acquaintances of people I know, and everybody's like, oh, you know, the sky is falling, it's snowing, and all of our plants are going to die. And you know, I just have one thing to say. One thing. Hakuna Matata. Say it with me. Hakuna Matata, right? No worries. It's going to be okay. Now, if the conditions were a little different, like if it were below freezing and this were an ice storm, because right now the peach tree is blooming out there, the tulips and the daffodils are in bloom. I have planted my kale and my lettuce and my peas. All of those things, they are built for this kind of weather. Okay, this is New England, all right? We never know what's going to happen, but be prepared that it still is going to snow. It might still snow again after today, all right? But these plants, that's what they're living for, okay? They've been in training for a long time for this, so they're going to be just fine. Now, if the conditions were different, and if it were colder, and if there were an ice storm, then we could panic. If there were a swarm of locusts, panic. A herd of snakes come through, panic. Is it a herd of snakes? It's bad. Whatever it is. Okay. Whatever we call a herd of snakes, it would be bad, right? Or if you've planted things outside that it's too early to plant, then you can panic, okay? So what would that be, Heather? Well, that would be your hot crops, the things that I listed, the peas, the lettuce, the cabbage, the kale. Those are your cold crops, all right? They love the cold weather. Tomatoes, peppers, eggplants, not so much. Marigolds, no, it's too early for those, okay? Excuse me, sorry, touched my microphone. Here in Zone 6, it's too early. But, you know, plant the things that you can plant right now. Starting lots of seeds, that's what I've been doing. So today I'm going to be starting milkweed plants. If you didn't get a chance to watch my video on planting for the monarchs, planting and caring for the monarchs, please do. It's got such beautiful photos of the years that I have spent helping the monarch butterflies along the way. So today, this is part of that. Okay, I did cold stratification for the milkweed seeds. All right, they have been in the refrigerator on a paper towel, and you can see the water in there, right? So they are ready to be planted. That is special treatment. Cold stratification is special treatment for milkweed. They need that kind of wet chill in order to germinate. So I'm going to be planting them as we chat, and I've got a plug tray. This is a 200 plug tray, and it's seed starting soil, and it's already moistened. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be using a pair of tweezers. I'll bring you down a little lower so you can see. And I'm just going to literally, there's 2 bags. I put 2 bags in here. I'm going to tweeze each one onto the soil. So that's how I'm going to be doing this. Okay, so I have 2 kinds of milkweed that I'm going to be planting. One of them is just your ordinary swamp milkweed. And the reason that I'm starting it in these little cell trays is because I need it to be in pots so that I can feed the monarch caterpillars. And so I'll take a pot and I'll just put it in their enclosure. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, watch that video, because yeah, it's a whole big process that I do. And I just rotate the plants in and out of the enclosure for their food. And if the plant is still alive at the end of the season, I will plant it in the ground. I have plenty of milkweed in the garden already, but I won't let it go to waste by any means. Now, the other kind of milkweed that I'm going to be growing is special. It's the yellow milkweed. I picked up the seeds early in the season. You can see that there's not a lot of seeds in there. So I'll be doing those at that side, this side of the tray, and I don't know how many seeds I have in here, but I'll plant like, I don't know, 60, 75 or so. So I'll just go through the, I'll count as I go. So some of the things that I have been doing, I've been starting a lot of seeds because the weather has been so nice. And I've started more seeds, and I've started them a little earlier because you can do that. See, I'm picking up one seed at a time. Can you see my one seed? Oh, what is that? Is that a root hair? Oh no, it's it's milkweed fluff still attached to it. All right, so I'm literally going to be setting it on top of the soil here, and then I'll just sprinkle some seed starting soil over top of them after. So some of the things that I have started already, of course, I've started peas. I soaked the peas, the nasturtiums, and the sweet peas. I soaked them overnight, and then I did the peas. I did 3 per, I did little modules of the peas. The peas are already in the garden outside. They're outside right now, and they're tough. They can take this weather. Can you hear the rain and the snow hitting the roof in here? So the peas are already outside. The sweet peas are still in here with me. But look at these. Okay. And the nasturtiums are going to be gorgeous this year. I love nasturtiums anyway. This is that variegated Red Alaska, I think is the name of it. I love that. So I have a whole bunch of these. You can see, I don't know if you can see, they're over here. So I started those, and let's see, oh, the peas, I did the tall telephone peas, and I put in a new archway, and I'll show you the arch when I do the April video. Actually, I'm going to take this paper towel out because this is, can I take it out? Oh, I don't know. Well, I can take it out a little bit further. This is a messy job, it really is, but you know what? It's okay. The monarch caterpillars are worth it. And I planted my pansies. Now, I used to work for a guy that would say, pansies, March 1st, no matter what, because pansies love the cold weather. They really do. And I'm so surprised that people still don't realize that. You plant your pansies early. If you can work the soil, and if you're not shoveling snow off the sidewalk, you need to plant your pansies early. So I planted my pansies, and they are looking fantastic. I watch a lot of YouTube videos. I watch a lot of other gardeners, and I get an idea in my head of something that I want to do, and I can't think of anything else. And I'm like, I want to plant ranunculus this year because I have not planted ranunculus in years. And in fact, I always think of them just as kind of like an Easter plant. And, you know, like an ornamental, you can just throw them away afterwards. So I'm going to do it differently this year. I took the ranunculus, the little gnarly little octopus looking little roots, and I soaked them, and then I planted them, and here they are. Now ranunculus are, this is going to be great, okay? Ranunculus like the cooler weather, and when the heat of summer comes, they're done and they go dormant. So I'm going to dig them up when they go dormant. That's my plan. I have marked my calendar so I do not forget to go look for them. But I'm really excited about this. They'll be pretty. I would have loved to have gotten just one color of ranunculus, but I ended up getting an assortment because they were actually really hard for me to find. I got an order of new dahlias that arrived. It's just 2 of them. It's something, they were kind of special dahlias from Fleur Farm, and they are gorgeous, gorgeous dahlia tubers. So I'm looking forward to planting those. And speaking of dahlia tubers, it is really time to wake the dahlia tubers up. They should be in here with me. Right now, I keep this, this greenhouse I try to keep it around 50 degrees minimum, and the dahlias will be fine, and I put them in those big totes. I'll show you next week, but I haven't done it yet because I've been busy doing other things. But it is time to do that, so they all need to get out here. I think I've got a handful out here with me so far. So another thing that's been going on around here is I tore out the raised beds that were out back, the 2 raised beds that I grew carrots in last year. And you might be saying, why on earth would you tear out raised beds? And you know, actually I didn't tear them out, my father-in-law did it for me. But you know, they just weren't working. It was the location. The location didn't work, and it just was wasted. So I'm going to be putting in a shade garden in that spot. So he tore the boxes out, and I reshaped the land. So I'll show you that hopefully very soon. Other seeds that I've started, I have started a lot of basil. And I just wanted to show you today this pretty basil. This is opal basil. Isn't that gorgeous? But I've got other varieties going. I wish I had started the basil a little bit earlier, but hopefully we'll have some warm days coming up and it'll take off. I am on my second sowing of, this is the second sowing. This is the second sowing of lettuce. And I've decided this year, instead of doing all the varieties of lettuce at one time, because I can only eat so much and nobody will take the lettuce from me, I decided I'll just kind of go through my collection of lettuce seeds, and every Monday I will sow some lettuce. So this is the next crop that is going to be, this is the next batch that's going outside. So this is sanguine. It's such a pretty little lettuce, but there are lettuce in the garden already. So the last thing I want to share with you today, is it garden related? Well, it's kind of garden related. I got to give a baby shower for my daughter Tiffany, for her first baby, and you know, I really couldn't figure out what the theme should be. All right, you know, and I wasn't thinking like I should at first. It was the day before Easter. We picked that as the date, and she loves plants as much as I love plants, and there's no way that baby's not going to love plants and flowers too. So that was our theme. We did everything kind of spring flowers, even down to the cupcakes. So I want to share some clips with you of the cupcakes and the centerpieces that I did. And I took the centerpieces and I took them apart after I got home, and I put them in the garden out here. So it was, I went to the big box store to get, I was going to buy a ton. I was fully prepared. I was going to pay a lot of money for spring bulbs. And I walked in to the box store, and I'm not even kidding you. All the hyacinths were half price. They were $2.50 for a 6-inch pot of hyacinths. And I walk in and I'm like, is this a joke? It was actually 2 days before Easter when I bought them. And I'm like, I'm gonna need a second cart. And I just bought as many that looked good. There were only a few that didn't look good on the table, but I bought a lot of hyacinths, and then the daffodils and tulips were hard to find, but so we just went without the tulips. So those are some of the things that I've been working on these last few weeks, and I would love to hear from you what you've been doing in your garden, what you've been doing to get ready for spring, or if it already is full spring where you're at, leave me a comment below. If you've enjoyed spending time with me today, give me a thumbs up. And if you're already a subscriber, well, thank you. And if you haven't yet subscribed, go ahead and subscribe so we can stay in touch and you don't miss out on the next adventure in gardening. See you soon.